In hearing that topic, I believe it relates to me because I knew from the time I was very little that I was in the wrong body. I can remember asking my mother, when do I get to carry the purse? How about some frilly stuff for me? Being a child of the 50s, I got a smack in the head for that. But I knew early on that I was in the wrong body. Actually, the crush that I most vividly remember is a recent one, and it's one that I take hormones, right? That's part of my transgendered process. I'm post-op, which means I've had the surgery, um, and hormones is part of my process. That's chemically induced female adolescence at 59, which is kind of crazy quite a bit of the time. But I recently started to crush on a man, and I'm in a committed lesbian relationship. If you had told me that enamored schoolgirl was going to come down my list of things that went on to me in the doing of hormones for this whole process, I would have been very shocked. My next birthday will be my 60th, and I'm in this one particular man's presence, and I can't put a sentence together. He thinks it's cute, and I'm like, no, no, baby, that's not cute. That's like making me insane. I never felt as though I had a choice. I never felt as though there was another, I could hide what went on with me and I could stuff what went on with me, but it never really went away, and at the outside I could stuff those feelings or that desire for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and I would have to tell somebody, and then I would have to address it. And if I hadn't fallen as a union iron worker, I would have never been able to. That was what I needed. For me, I needed to really bang my head to realize how precarious life is, and 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 stop living that lie. When I fell from the 28th floor to the 26th floor of a 34-story building. I picked up a piece of plywood and went to move it out of my way. And the guy who was on the floor with heard the plywood slam down and turned around and couldn't find me. And I passed people on 27, and I got tangled up in a cable on 26. I broke like 29 bones, and when the iron workers had me leaned up against a column, the first thing I realized was that it must have been really bad because the whole working gang was out in front of me. There was 18 iron workers in a half circle in front of me. And I was like, oh, this is bad. And then I looked down at my arm, and there was bone sticking out of my arm, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really bad. And then I realized there was 2 EMS guys working on me. One of them was cutting my pant leg off, and the other was cutting my boot off. And the only thing I could think of was, Joey, you think this was the best day for jungle red on your toes? I was concerned about that, not that I was going to die from this catastrophic fall, but that these iron workers were going to see that my legs were shaved and my toes were painted. So no, it never went away. I don't mean to sound too California or anything, but I think the God of my understanding realized just how hard I needed to bang my head to get with telling my truth and realizing that my truth isn't bad. This is something I could never get away from. I couldn't marry it away. I couldn't screw it away. I couldn't masculine job it away. I couldn't pray it away. Nothing made this dissipate from the time I was shorter than that tripod. I think I'm doing an adequate job of female. I think I'm actually letting my heart out as female. This is the truth. That boy crap I did for 50 years, that was I know I can act. You know, I, I, I made it ironworking for 10 years with extremely machismo men from New Jersey on the waterfront in Jersey City. Had they known this was what was going on under them Carhartts, probably wouldn't have gone so well. All my stuff hinges on the fact that I'm transgendered. And if I had a mission statement as a comedian, it would be that this is not wrong. You know, I'm a good woman. I'm telling the truth. This isn't contagious. Right after my surgery, maybe a year after my surgery, I'm in a committed lesbian relationship. I've been in a committed lesbian relationship. Before that, I was married for 20 years, thinking I was in a lesbian relationship. It's very hard to push that in light of God's sense of humor. Let's give the trans girl a 10-inch cock. Really, God? Do you have any idea what this is doing to my panty lines? In light of the fact that I fell as a union iron worker, and that's as lucrative as it is, and I was able to tell my truth and follow my dream, and have my Made in America lesbian-approved vagina installed, and live the life I knew I should have been living my whole life. It's like, yeah, I told you so. I knew that this is what I was saying when I was yanking on my mother's purse, when I was shorter than that post and rail fence. When do I get to carry the purse? When do I get to tell my truth? When do I get to know, when do I get to be who I am? You know, I lived a whole bunch of time not being able to do that. You know, I had to do boy shit in the interim. And then, you know, I had God's confusing with the, you know, the wonderfully adequate boy junk. There, I cleaned that up considerably, didn't I?